What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Your boy is back with the DreadMan Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jay the Dreadman Thomas, and I'm here with my boys, Flippin' Wallet What's going on, fellas? All right. Anyway, yeah. Now, this past week in the NFL has been very, very interesting. We are already on week 8, and this is it's been a really topsy turvy kind of season in the NFL. But before we get into our review of last week and our predictions for week 8, um, I need to ask you guys a couple of questions as usual. Now, it's regarding Carson Wentz and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, are you guys ready to admit that they're the real deal, or are you still not sold on them? Because me personally, until I feel like we see them win a playoff game, I'm not 100% sold on them. I mean, because don't get me wrong, but they're good enough to get there. As it stands right now, they are good enough to make it to the playoffs. But thing is, it would depend on who they face because I don't really see anybody else in the NFC East going to the playoffs this year. The Cowboys might sneak in there as like a maybe a fifth or sixth seed, but we'll see. Because I mean, sure, even I don't even think that the Cowboys can get past the Rams if they face the Rams. But like I said, well, that's to be determined. But are you guys sold on them yet, or do you need to see more? Because it's an improvement over trash ass Kevin Cobb, who was like probably one of the worst quarterbacks for the Philadelphia Eagles ever, and even Donovan McNabb. Well, I guess I'll even go as far as to say he might be even a little bit better than Donovan McNabb. But what do you guys think? Are they the real deal, or do you need to still see more?
With the Eagles, I feel like you always need to see more. Like you said, they have to win a playoff game at least before I'm sitting here like, okay, these guys, they might actually make it to the Super Bowl or something. Um, I don't know. Carson Wentz looks really good this year. He's moving on his feet. I don't know if you guys saw that play last night where it looked like he went down.
Oh
Like
yeah.
suddenly he's running
Oh yeah.
15 yards up. Um, but he's found his groove. He's got Zach Ertz, Nelson Aguilar in the slot is looking really good. Alshon is kind of Alshon. I mean, everyone's kind of locking down on Alshon and opening up the offense. So, I mean, I'm close to saying they're real.
All right, Positive, what do you think?
Oh yeah, I was sold on them like going into last week, and that performance that Wentz put on last night was just unbelievable, and it's just starting to cap what I think he's put together right now. I mean, I think he's my MVP right now.
Oh.
With the way the Eagles are playing, with how he's playing right now, I don't think anyone's playing better than he is. Especially with that performance last night.
Yeah.
And going forward, I understand like this team's inexperienced in terms of like playoff wins, and Wentz is only in his second year. But right, I think what holds us with having hesitation with this team is not just the stink of the Philadelphia franchise, but also like the way this team is designed, because like they're almost a little bit one dimensional. Like they don't really, even though they got Blunt, they don't really have a great running game. I mean, Blunt didn't really do much of anything last night, and it seemed like really kind of like predominantly based on how well Wentz performed. Like Wentz basically carries shoulders the load, and he's been playing so well that the team just looks good. I don't know what's going to happen, if he goes into a slump or if he, God forbid, he gets injured, like a lot of these other quarterbacks have been doing this season. But I think that's kind of making us hesitate whether or not we think this team's going to go far. But I like the way Wentz is performing. Team around him, he's revived guys like Nelson Aguilar's career.
Yeah.
And I mean, the way he took a sack and then he threw that 60-yard touchdown the following play right after it, but just like stood in the pocket and launched it, like that was just, like he's got such great poise, which is what you need at that position. And yeah, I think they're the real deal. I think they're I think they're the best team right now, like in terms of through the 8 weeks, through the sample size that we have of the season, they are playing the best. Are they the best team? I don't know. but they are playing the best, and I think Wentz right now, he's kind of like the front runner right now for MVP.
All right. Now, Brett Hundley's performance for the Saints and Packers game over the last weekend. Well, first off, they say that Aaron Rodgers could be back as early as Week 16. Now, whether Hundley can hold down the fort between now and then is that's to be determined. But Brett Hundley's performance to me wasn't that bad. But the thing is, he does fit that whole mold, that whole stereotypical dual threat quarterback. You know what I'm saying? He's got fast legs, he's got a strong arm, but he's not that accurate when he's out of the pocket. He's like that stereotypical RG3, Colin Kaepernick, early Michael Vick even Steve Young kind of player, or Vince Young kind of player. But what do you think? What do you guys think? Flip, you first.
Hundley? Yeah. I'm not really impressed by him. I feel like he's a Russian quarterback that can't really operate in the pocket. And that team, I feel like those receivers are kind of, I wouldn't say they're chosen for Aaron Rodgers, but they just operate in a way that only Aaron Rodgers can really throw to. Because every time he goes down, it feels like those receivers are dead. It's something weird because you would expect Hundley, who can use the speed to be able to, kind of open up the pocket, kind of create space and give some time, but I don't know, it doesn't seem that way.
All right, Walter, what do you think of Brett Hundley's performance?
I was kind of surprised. I mean, he played so poorly in the game where he came in.
Who just chimed in? Ben, what's going on, Ben?
Hey, what's going on?
All right,
hey, how's it going?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. We're just chopping it up about what we think of Brett Hundley's performance this past week. Walter was just he was just chiming in on his thoughts about that.
Yeah, so what I was saying, I mean, he obviously played a little bit better. I don't know if it's a game-to-game thing for him, and obviously it's the Saints defense. I think you got to look a little bit better than the performance he put on coming in for Rodgers. I think he threw like 3 picks in that game.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to depend. Unfortunately, I mean, Aaron Jones kind of came out of nowhere. It seems to be a pretty solid, running back to kind of lean on in the interim. But I don't. I mean, I'm looking at his numbers right now. 87 yards, 12 for 25. Like that's just that's just not going to cut it. And I'm looking at their schedule. They got a couple of games like where they could like keep splitting. They can go like 2-2 these next like four games. I don't know if they can stay around 500, but unfortunately, like the Vikings are there. I don't think the Vikings are going to go away.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to matter. I mean, unless Aaron Rodgers comes back really quick. I think that Week 16 though is against the Vikings. So it'll be interesting to see if they're like a game out or if they're tied at some point because the Vikings just happen to falter. If they can still just manage to get past them, but I'm not impressed. And unfortunately, it's really like the Packers kind of put all their chips in behind Aaron Rodgers. They don't really have they really didn't kind of set their team up to hold the fort down if he goes out for a little bit. And unfortunately, that's just the way they're designed.
Yeah. All right. Now, before we get into our review of last week, one more thing. If the season ended today, I want to talk about basically that. Well, I wanted to do the AFC first, then I want to do the NFC. Now, the top 3 teams, as it stands in the AFC, are of course the Pittsburgh Steelers, the New England Patriots, and still the Kansas City Chiefs holding on by a thread. Now, I want to know, in you guys' opinion, out of those 3 teams, which one of those teams is not going to get the first round bye? Repeat, not. Me, I hate to say it, but out of those 3, I don't think that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to get the first round bye out of those 3 teams. But, between me and you guys, I think they play when they don't have a first round bye. I think that Kansas City might do just enough to lock down a first round bye spot, but I think that the 2 teams that are going to be fighting for it the most are probably going to be between New England and Pittsburgh. But as far as the NFC, which one do you guys think is not going to make the first round bye out of the top three teams in the NFC? Which right now is the let's see.
Is the Eagles?
Yes, the Eagles,
Vikings, and the Rams. They're all full.
Yeah.
I mean, the Saints are 4-2 as well, but they haven't played a game. They're a game behind based on the amount of games played. But I mean, obviously the only team. I mean, it'd be the Vikings. I don't know if I trust the Vikings. I mean, with Case Keenum and everything, to have it to be a top 2 seed. Crazy as that sounds, I trust Jared Goff and the Rams more so than that.
Yeah.
The Eagles for sure. They're clinching 1 or 2 for sure. I can't believe it's gonna be I can't believe it. It might be the Rams. The Rams are the Saints. And no, here's the thing. I would probably put my money on the Saints more than the Rams. The Saints have been playing really well. Especially since they got rid of Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, and just keep in mind that if it wasn't for Aaron Rodgers' injury, the Packers would have that top 3 spot in the NFC right now. And hell, they might even mess around and get the first. They might have even messed around and got the first round bye if he was still healthy.
Yeah.
But yeah, But yeah, what about you guys AFC? Like out of the Steelers, the Pats, and the KC, which one of those do you think isn't going to make the first round bye?
I would give it to the Chiefs not making it to the first round bye.
I
feel like coaches are starting to figure out their offense. Well, at least it seems that way. Especially with the Raiders kind of pulling in on them like that. Because, I mean, Derek Carr was back, but he was probably still injured. And Amari Cooper lifted him up.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know, man. I don't see the Chiefs really keeping this streak going. They started off really strong, though. I really thought they were going to be the team to beat in the AFC, but
yeah, as time goes on, we're starting to see more and more holes in the game.
I'm kind of surprised, Dreadman, that you don't put enough stock in your Steelers because out of those 3 teams, the Steelers have the easiest division.
Yeah, the AFC North. Yeah.
Yeah, the easiest division. Like the Patriots, as good as they are, they got Buffalo creeping up on them, and they have all of a sudden the Dolphins creeping up on them. And in Kansas, obviously in the West, you got the Chargers, you got the Raiders. I mean, the Broncos are falling off right now, but the other 2 teams, they have other competitive division rivals. Whereas the NFC North, like none of those teams, none of those teams in the NFC North, right? I think the Steelers are going to get too many easy wins in that division to lose the top 2 seeds.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because there's no doubt. I've got the Steelers taking the North, no doubt about it. Because the Browns are trash, the Bengals are bipolar, and they can. And the Ravens can't get it together with their quarterback situation. So of course we're gonna take. We're gonna get at least 3rd seed. But like I said, as far as the first round bye, it depends on how good Kansas City and New England do. But the thing is, we've already beat Kansas City. And we go up against New England. Yeah, we go up against New England week 12. So that might, if we beat them both, that might tip the odds in our favor for a first round bye spot.
That's what I thought too. I was going to give the Steelers the edge over the Chiefs as far as that first round bye because they've already beaten the Chiefs. And just like the guy touched on, the AFC North is not a terrible division, to be honest. They don't really have any competition. Whereas the Chiefs, the Raiders may get this. Well, the Raiders. I don't know about the Chargers. I don't really trust the Chargers. I always think they're like the most underachieving team in the NFL.
Yeah.
But the Raiders may have got their act together with that win. So the Chiefs may have to fight it out with the Raiders at the end.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Raiders are going to make it, but I don't know. Maybe they have found something after that big win. So I give the Steelers right now the edge getting that first round bye. The Steelers and the Patriots.
Yeah, and who knows?
I don't worry about
even Denver. They might get it together. I believe that Denver might actually sneak into that wild card spot, but you never know.
I don't know about Denver right now.
Like I said, they'll get I believe they'll get the 6th seed. Maybe we'll see.
I don't. Right now, I don't know if Denver's even going to make it to the playoffs. To be honest, especially the last 2 weeks they played. Like I don't know what happened to their offense at all. They just, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. As of right now, I don't even know if I'd have the Broncos even get.
Yeah, because the NFC is easier. The NFC is kind of damn near a lock. The AFC is very, very tricky.
I wouldn't say the AFC is tricky. I'd say there's probably one division that's really, actually 2 divisions. AFC South and AFC West are those 2 divisions that's kind of, I'm skeptical about. I don't think the Patriots are letting the Bills and Dolphins lose anywhere.
Yeah. All right, fellas. Now, to recap last week, what was the game of the week in your opinion? I got like 2 or 3 different candidates for game of the week. My first one is, of course, my first one, of course, Bengals and Steelers. I mean, because it was like that game went exactly the way I thought it was going to go, competitive all the way up until the second half. Let's see, my second game of the week. You know what?
It's gotta be Oakland KC, man.
Oh yeah, Oakland KC. Oh yeah, and also my third game of the week was the game last night between the Eagles and the Redskins. You can easily put that one up there. But the Chiefs and the Raiders probably is number 1 because it was so damn close.
All those passing games,
yeah.
flags flying everywhere at the last minute.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. You had Marshawn Lynch hemming up a referee.
It was priceless.
And he had the Raiders winning the game like 3 times if it wasn't for certain calls. They had to try again every time. So.
Yeah. Now, most improved team of the week, the team that has, patched up the holes in their games, whether they gave a bad performance or whether they lost. I say the team that proved most of the week was probably the New England Patriots. I mean, they showed that the Super Bowl was no fluke, and they showed that, home field advantage matters when it's at Gillette Stadium. But what do you guys think? Most improved team of the week?
I got to be a little biased here and go with the Chargers.
Right.
We definitely shut out the Broncos, surprised the hell out of me, and we're on a 3-game winning streak. So, yeah, I want to go with the Chargers on this one.
What's the time? Who you got?
I will. I'll probably say the Patriots. For them to kind of like fully allow basically a grown man touchdown from Julio Jones against that defense that is read by everybody. I don't know what happened to Matt Ryan in that game. I mean, it just seemed like he was. I don't know. I would have expected a lot better from him. And I was a little bit surprised. I was surprised that the Patriots handled it. I mean, it was in Gillette, but yeah, I was a little bit surprised. I was expecting a shootout, and all of a sudden the Patriots reminded me why they are the defending champs.
Right. Now, who is the MVP of the week in your opinion this week? For me, it's a toss-up between Carson Wentz and Le'Veon Bell. Either one of those could go. But Flip, who you got?
MVP? Either Carson Wentz or Amari Cooper.
I can see that. Walter, who you got?
It's Carson Wentz on me, man. I'm on the Carson Wentz bandwagon.
All right.
Especially that touchdown, like that third one he threw.
Yeah.
Where he was getting hit. He was getting hit as he threw it, so he kind of lobbed that shit up. I mean, god dang, that was incredible.
Yeah. Ben, who you got as your player of the week this week?
Yeah, I'm gonna go on the train to Carson Wentz, no doubt. Derek Carr, 29 for 52, 417 yards and 3 touchdowns is not bad either. Amari Cooper too. I mean, it's tough. I guess I got to go with Carson Wentz. I mean, that's just like he's the man right now, like consistently. Not even like nobody saw Amari Cooper. I always thought like Michael Crabtree was the number one guy, but
Yeah, Maurice Martin
finally
Cooper,
got
definitely.
Derek Carr, he was kind of struggling up until last week. But Carson Wentz, like week in and week out, like he's the guy.
Now, there were so many chokes or ass whoopings of the week. The Rams shut the Cardinals out. The Jags shut the Colts out. The Chargers shut the Broncos out. What in the hell? I don't even know what the hell was going on with these teams last week. And I picked two out of 3 of these teams to win last week. Like, what the hell is going on? But you can easily say, I mean, like the choke of the week or the worst performance of the week. I mean, it can go to 3 different teams. Or hell, the Jets choked against the damn Dolphins. But then again, I kind of figured that the Dolphins would win anyway. And of course, the ass whooping that the Patriots put on the Falcons. It's so many things that went wrong. And you could even say that even though this one was expected, the Cowboys ass whooping that they put on the 49ers, but the 49ers are like the second worst team in the league, or even you could even say they're the worst team in the league behind the Browns. But worst performance / choke of the week to you guys. Flip, who you got?
I don't know if this counts as choke of the week, but I kind of want to give the Ravens choke of the week just for losing off field goals.
Oh yeah,
they lost off like 8 field goals or something like that. That's pretty sad, man. Besides that, the only chokes I can see are the Jets and Dolphins game.
Yeah.
And I guess the Broncos are getting shut out.
Yeah.
They weren't supposed to get shut out.
I didn't expect that at all. But yeah, Ben, what you about to say?
So is it me?
Yeah.
I was gonna give an interesting take. I'm gonna say the Titans to go into overtime against the Browns.
Oh God. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Right. I'm not saying the Titans are absolutely kill the Browns. I mean, the Browns aren't a very good team, but to go into overtime, like that.
Yeah, and the Titans are held to a higher standard than that, and then you let the Browns take you to overtime.
Yeah. That's I can't even tell you who's starting on the Browns. It was a Kessler, and then I guess Kaiser. I guess he's starting again. It's like a ring around the rosy on the quarterback. But I was surprised by that. Another choke is the Panthers. Like to lose to the Bears.
How the hell do you beat the Lions but lose to the Bears? I don't get that either.
But the Panthers, the Panthers, I can't figure out the Carolina Panthers at all. I can't. That's a really schizophrenic team.
I had them in the wild card this year, but now I'm not even sure. They might sneak in the wild card like in the 5th or 6th seed. We'll see.
But they're one of those dangerous teams too. They're a team just even though the Redskins lost to the Eagles, they're just one of those teams that if they sneak in there, like maybe they can cause an upset in the wild card, be out the next round. But I don't know about this team. Can't get a read on them.
All right, Wazatov, who you got before we get into our predictions?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Panthers. I was thinking about the Jets giving up 17 in the fourth to the Dolphins, but the Panthers I felt were gonna clean up the Bears, and they just laid an egg. Granted, the Bears didn't do much offensively; they just had obviously just 2 big defensive touchdowns. Other than that, I mean, this is not really much of a game. It's just a 3-3 game without those touchdowns involved, but yeah, you can't do that. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, you can't do that in a game where people are expecting you to kind of compete. I mean, win the NFC South, and especially Cam. After a couple of good games, after that, all that stuff going on with the female reporter, like he didn't have a great game last week, and then he just laid a stinker against Chicago. It's just ridiculous. I'm going with the Panthers, choking it away. I have no faith in them. I think that division now is probably going to be New Orleans. We'll see, but yeah.
Yeah, New Orleans has been under a fly under the radar type of team, but we'll discuss that later. Anyway, week 8, we got our Thursday night game with the Miami Dolphins going up against the Baltimore Ravens. This one, I'm not sold on the Dolphins. The Dolphins can hang in there against damn near anybody, but they seem to blow games. But the Ravens are all but horrible this year. The Ravens, I mean, like Joe Flacco, they just need to get him the hell out of there before he stinks up the joint. I mean, with the way Joe Flacco is playing right now, I mean, what is their record? 3-3, 3-4, like yeah,
3-4.
yeah, 3-4 is their record right now. Yeah, so they're under 500, and I don't even think that they can at this point, even if it is at home, I don't even think they can beat the Dolphins. But I mean, with if Jay Ajayi is 100% healthy, he can run the ball, and if Jay Cutler's even at 50%, then I can actually see the Dolphins winning this. It wouldn't surprise me if the Ravens win. I mean, with the with how topsy turvy the NFL's been this year, but safe pick is the Dolphins. I'm gonna say 23-17. Flip, who you got?
These teams, I don't know, man. They're both underperforming, even though they have decent. I guess the Dolphins have a good record. I don't know how they're 4-2, to be honest.
Yeah.
Jay Ajayi's been underperforming all year. He's been getting like 20 plus touches each game. Just, I don't know, man. I think Cutler's out now, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Cutler's out, Matt Moore's in.
Yeah. I feel like the Ravens defense kind of failed them out. I think it's gonna be a low scoring game, probably like 10-17 or something like that. But I give it to the Ravens.
I got it even lower than that.
It might be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the top? Who you got?
What's your score? Well, I was gonna say, Ben, what's your score for that game, Ben?
I don't know. Well, why not 6-3? 3-2. Yeah. Why not? 2-0.
Damn.
Who knows? Well, I mean, neither team really does anything on offense. You know, I mean, the Ravens, they really don't do anything on offense. And this is like a reverse of last week because last week the Vikings, I think, were favored by 4 against the Ravens. I thought that was a tricky number. So that's one reason why I picked the Ravens. And this week now the Ravens are favored by 3, and I just don't have any faith in them. Like they didn't show up last week. I don't even know if they're gonna get it together this week either. I'm leaning towards the Dolphins. I don't know. It's gonna be a sleeper. That's what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it maybe 13-10, something like that. There's just gonna be no scoring. I hope there's scoring because I'm doing fantasy.
Yeah.
I'm doing draft like Monday to Thursday games, and I got like Jarvis Landry and Devontae Parker, and I got Buck Allen. I'm hoping they do a little bit of something, but they just neither team really. But then again, usually you get teams that play against each other that don't really do anything. Usually, sometimes those are the shootouts. Sometimes we've seen games like that where it's like. Just like years ago when the Rams weren't really putting up a whole lot of offense, against maybe the 49ers or something, and that score was like 37-30, and it's like, where in the hell was this? It could either be a snoozer, like a 10-7, or who knows, maybe we'll get like a 38-34 type game. I don't know.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting point. When two teams have nothing to play for, that's when you get the best out of them. But yeah, Walzatov, who you got? Dolphins, Ravens.
Yeah, it's gonna be the Dolphins. I think. The Ravens to start aren't good. They're actually missing a lot of their receivers. A lot of them are injured right now, so they might be going out. They might be playing with like four of their like top receivers out of the game. So it's like what's Flacco gonna do? He's gonna be handing the ball off, checking down the entire way. The Ravens have actually looking at stuff. They have the worst rush defense in the league. They're giving up the most rushing yards per game, giving up about 145 yards a game. So I mean, if this should be the game. This should be Ajayi's breakout game. We're kind of waiting for it. The offense seems to know starts like I mentioned this before because I was like when Ajayi gets around like 20 carries, they win regardless of how he performs. He didn't have a good game last week. They still got around the 20, 25 touches. A couple weeks prior, he got around those 20, 25 touches, produced a lot better. I think the Dolphins are going to keep following that formula. It seems they take a little bit little bit of a while in the last couple of games to get points on the board. They've been doing a lot of their damage in the second half. So this might be a game where it's just like it's a crappy Thursday night game in the first half. A lot of people turn it off, and then you wake up next morning, you throw on Sports Center, and they light it up. I think this is going to be probably a 24-27, the 14 game for this ball.
All righty. Next up, we got the Minnesota Vikings at the Cleveland Browns. The Vikings, they are a bipolar team. They are very, very hit or miss. But here's the funny thing about the Vikings. They can be a hit against a top team, but a miss against a low team. I don't know what the hell's up. But the thing is now, the Browns very well could mess around and win this damn game. Like, if they could win one game, this will probably be it. And I hate to say that, only because the Vikings are so damn incomplete. But, I mean, the Vikings, they'll hang around, a little bit. They can. But the thing is, with them, it always comes down to just one play. Case Keenum is inconsistent as hell. The Vikings have a decent running game and an okay defense. But would that be enough to beat the Browns? Like I said, the Browns could win this one, but for this game, I am gonna play it safe and pick the Vikings because even though the Browns put up a fight last week against the Titans, and the Titans right now are, dare I say it, a better team than the Vikings. The Vikings are just solid. They're not really that good at one particular thing. They're just a solid team. But like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and just play it safe and pick the Vikings. I'm gonna go ahead and say 20-4. Let's do 20-14 for the Vikings. Flip, who you got?
I got the total opposite, man. I got it like 22-6 or 9 for the Vikings. The Titans have been struggling. They haven't looked like the team that they should be, that I expected them to be when I chose for them to win the division.
Right.
The Vikings, they still have their solid defense. McKinnon and Murray are a pretty decent duo for, filling in for Dalvin Cook. They still got Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen, so, I'm not really sleeping on them still. Even though Case Keenum is throwing it, he's had some pretty decent games against the Browns, so I don't expect too much from them either. So I got it like 22-6 or 9.
All right, Wazatov, who you got? Vikings, Browns.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it simple. Like what everyone's been kind of skating on. The Vikings got a good defense. The Browns are just a terrible team all around. Nothing. Kaiser's just having a terrible season. The Vikings, like, they showed. It's interesting. The last couple of weeks, McKinnon 2 weeks ago went off, and then I think last week Murray went off. So it's interesting to see. They have that combination of running backs where they can kind of lean on them when Case isn't playing well. And again, they got great complementary receivers like Thielen's having like a quiet. He hasn't scored yet, but he's having a quiet good season. He's on pace for almost 100 catches this year. I just think that team's just too solid right now. I'm gonna pick them to win 27-10.
All right. Ben, who you got? Vikings, Browns.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Vikings. This is probably like an eliminator pick. It's pretty easy. I'm not even gonna go into the Vikings offense. I think I don't think anybody's gonna have like a huge day or anything, but I think their defense is gonna overwhelm the Browns, which is not really saying a whole lot. So I look for them to crush the Browns. To be honest, it could be a shutout. It could be I don't know. I'm looking. Why not 27-3, something like that?
Wow.
It's gonna be. I think they're gonna totally dominate the Browns over in London.
All right. And that game is 9 p.m. 9 a.m. Eastern time for those who are keeping track. But next up, we got the Atlanta Falcons coming off a loss, and they're going up against the New York Jets, another AFC East team. it's safe to say that the Falcons are going to be pissed off from last week, and they might take out that aggression on the Jets. But the Jets have a pretty damn solid defense. They can't really score all that much, but they're going to be enough. I mean, like I can see Matt Ryan getting pounded on by the Jets defense. If he can get the ball out quick enough, I mean, like they're going to force. Of course, the Jets defense is going to force Matt Ryan to get the ball out quicker than he wants to. But if it's anybody in the NFL who's a gunslinger and can get the ball out quicker than the linebackers can hit him, then it is Matt Ryan. But is that where you want to put your? Do you want to put your money where your mouth is and bet on them? I'm not too sure. Because I mean, the thing is, this is at Jets. At the Jets, this is a home game for the Jets. I think right now the Jets might be slightly favored. I mean, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But
no, Falcons are favored right now. Falcons are favored.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. I mean, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Falcons to win this game. I think they're gonna plug up the holes from last week. I mean, because we all know that. I mean, while the Jets are pretty solid on defense, their offense is nowhere near as good as New England's. I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Falcons. I'm gonna say 21-18. Yep, 21-18 Falcons. Flip, who you got? Falcons, Jets.
I feel like this might be an upset, man. I don't know. I don't think the Jets should win this, but the way the Falcons have been playing, I feel like they'll give them a chance to win it.
Yeah.
And if McCown can keep up this little hot streak he's been having and not actually choke the game away, I could see the Jets winning it probably like 28-31.
Wow, you got a high scoring game.
Yeah. I don't feel like either defense is gonna be at work here.
Yeah. All right, Walter Tyler, who you got? Falcons, Jets.
Yeah, I just felt I can see the upset on this just because I felt like the Jets are playing playing pretty competitive even in these games that they're losing. Whereas the Falcons have looked kind of dreadful the last two games. First against giving up 20 unanswered points to the Dolphins, and then losing like that to New England. I don't. It's very interesting because Matt Ryan played at his peak performance. He had a career year last year, and now he's regressed back down to somewhat of the mean for his level. And I don't know if that's in part because of the loss of the offensive coordinator and Kyle Shanahan, or if it's just the Super Bowl loss stench that's stuck on that franchise.
Yeah.
I could see it's just the only thing is it's really hard for me to pick the Jets, but there's just too much weapons on Atlanta right now. Even though I feel like they're really underusing Devontae Freeman, they're not running the ball enough with him. I don't know why. I think hopefully they get back to that this week. If they do, which I'm leaning towards them doing that, I'm going to see the Falcons winning this game. It's gonna. I think it'll be a little low scoring. I don't think it's gonna be that great. I'll probably say it's gonna be 23-14.
All right, Ben, who you got? Falcons or Jets?
I got Atlanta. I mean, I don't see the upset. I guess you could. I mean, if you're thinking about what happened last week, and you think, with the Falcons being disappointed in their performance, and just overall, I don't know, for lack of a better phrase, team morale or whatnot, you think, they're just not gonna. They're just not going to show up next week. I think there may be a little bit of that, maybe the first quarter or something. But I think eventually, things just click at maybe by the second quarter, by the second half. I don't know what's up with the running game either. I don't know what's up with Matt Ryan. I sometimes listen to Colin Cowherd, and he was comparing him to Andy Dalton. I thought it was kind of funny. It's I don't know. Matt Ryan is better. I mean, I would choose Matt Ryan over Andy Dalton any day. But
Hell yeah.
I don't know. Atlanta again. It's like I can't really quite figure this team out neither because they should be playing so much better than what they are.
Oh yeah, definitely. Final score.
I'm thinking 27-17.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead. This teams are just puzzle you, and it's like you're trying to explain like what's going on, and you can't. But Atlanta's kind of known for this. I mean, other than last year when they went to the Super Bowl, they've been known to be that 8-8, 9-17. But it's another underachieving team. But I think they'll figure it out next week. I don't know if they're going to continue, like improving or anything. But I think they're good enough to beat the Jets at least.
All right. Now, next up, we have a potential Game of the Week candidate between the Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, you got two quarterbacks who are mobile and have an arm that is strong as hell. They both have pretty damn good weapons. The only edge I would say is that the Bucs their running game is just a little bit better, but the passing game for the Panthers is a little bit better. It's going to come down this one is also going to come down to who can make the most stops on defense. It's also going to come down to turnovers. If the Panthers turn the ball over once, it's over for them. I'm going to bank on that. The Bucs turn the ball over once, it's over for them. I'm going to bank on that. Who do I trust more in that department? At this point in the season, the Panthers have more turnovers than the Bucs. So I can't believe I'm saying this because I actually like the Panthers, but I'm going to go ahead and give this one to the Bucs. Let's say 21-13, and the Bucs are at home. By the way, Flip, who you got?
You said you got a 21-13 Bucs?
Yep, 21-13, Bucs over Panthers.
Okay, I thought you lost your mind for a second. You picked the Panthers.
Oh no!
Look, man, Cam is streaky as hell. I don't like Cam this year. Christian McCaffrey is a bust. I don't care what anyone says. I mean, he can catch the ball, but every time he runs the ball, it looks terrible. Jonathan Stewart has been really busty this year too. I feel like the Bucs have better offensive weapons. I feel like D. Jackson Evans and O.J. Howard are way better than Kelvin Benjamin, Ed Dixon, and Devin Funchess. Doug Martin and what's his name? Quiz Rogers. I feel like they're a better running back deal in the backfield by miles than Stewart and McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to defense, and I don't know. I got a feeling Cam might throw them out of this game again, so I'm giving it to the Bucs like 24-14.
All right, Walter, time for you got Panthers Bucs.
Yeah, I think the Bucs are gonna play pretty well in this game. I like them a lot. Cam's is having a terrible season. Winston is not playing great, but he's okay considering. We would expect more out of him with all the weapons he has, but I think it's still taking time to adjust to Jackson and O.J. Howard. But I do think that they're going to try to seize up because right now, they're at the bottom right now, and it's kind of like a make or break game for this team. Being 2-4, they can't. I mean, they want any chance at making the playoffs. They're probably going to have to win the division, and it's going to probably need to start with a game like this where they're playing a division rival. I do like the Bucs in this game. I'm going to go with 28-13. Crab legs.
You good crab legs?
28-13 crab legs.
All right then. Ben, who you got? Panthers Bucs.
Okay, I join. I try to. I don't know. I always usually try to pick a team that's kind of on the come up. I don't really have like a favorite NFL team, but right now it's the Buccaneers. It's just because I'm a Seminoles fan and I have a man crush on Jameis Winston. they're struggling. Like, and I knew I had a feeling like this team was either gonna like rise up to the expectations or like kind of be flat because this is a team that a lot of people talked about in the offseason. Like, hey, the Buccaneers may be pretty good. They may be 10-6, 11-5. I think this is the time that they're gonna go to the playoffs and maybe do a little something. Like they don't look like that at all. I don't know what's going on. Um, just seems to be said for the Panthers. Nobody again. Like I don't have any idea what's going on with them either. They're week in, week out. Like one week Cam Newton looks like an MVP, and then the next week he just doesn't show up. This is a game the Bucks have to have. The team, both these teams need to have the game, but the Bucks need it more. And I feel I don't know about these defenses, but I kind of feel a little comfortable with the Bucks. At least the Bucks can put up points. With Jameis is really good, and that's the homer in me. But their offense seems to be a little bit more consistent than the Panthers. But I think this game's gonna be close. I'm gonna give it to the Bucks. This could be like a game of the week because I'm thinking it's gonna be close. I'm looking at overtime for this one. I'm thinking it's gonna be maybe like a 23-20-ish. But I think the Buccaneers are gonna pull this one out.
All right. Next up, fellas, you guys can feel free to keep this one short, sweet, and to the point because because I am. You got the San Francisco 49ers on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's just keep it short, sweet, and to the point. The Cowboys put a whooping on them last week, and the Eagles at this point right now are a hell of a lot better than the Cowboys. Carson Wentz is playing like a world beater. Their running game is top notch right now. They don't have too many holes in their defense. Short, sweet, and to the point. And it's that and like I said, this is a home game for the Eagles. I'm gonna go ahead and say 35-10 at most for the Philadelphia Eagles. Flip, who you got?
I got 49ers winning it 49-16.
Woo! Whatever you're drinking, I want some of it. I know you're messing around.
I'm trying to make caffeine right now. That's the process. Eagles got this no problem. I don't see them running up the score. I see it probably ending like 27-13 or something. And they just have Blunt run it out in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I can see that. All right, Wazatov, who you got? Or do I need to ask?
The only thing is, if the Eagles had a better running back than Blunt, like they had someone like around the caliber of Ezekiel Elliott, hard as that may seem to believe, this would be a really, really high scoring game for them. That's the only limitation I think for them because the Cowboys they have like a lot of weapons. They have like really balanced attack. They were just able to shred us on all sides of the ball. But I think that's the only limiting factor for the Eagles in terms of how many points they're going to put up on the Niners. The Niners had a couple of good drives against the Cowboys. They just didn't go. They just ended up falling through, and nothing came out of it. So I think the Niners will put up a little more points against the Eagles but it's still going to be it's just going to be an ass whooping. It's going to probably be I'm going to say 30. I'm going to say you know what I'm going to make it 30-13. 30-13.
I say 35-10, but all right. Ben, who you got? Eagles or 49ers?
I'm going to piggyback on that 49ers pick. No, I'm playing. Definitely the Eagles. This is just a solid win. I don't know if it's going to be a blowout. I mean, it looks like it would be a blowout. I mean, just looking at what the Eagles did this Monday night and how the 49ers played. I know a whole lot of people are going to think, Philadelphia should win by 40-something points, but I don't know. 30-13 is comfortable. I like, the Eagles.
All right, we got that out of the way quick, but all right, let's see. Also, next up, we got the Chicago Bears going up against the New Orleans Saints. The Saints looked very good against a crippled Green Bay Packers team. The Bears, they had a pretty damn good running game, but that running game, I mean, they can only go so far with that running game. The running game is good for the first two quarters, but then as soon as the third quarter hits, that's when they start running out of gas, which is why they need to alternate the running back instead of just relying on one. But I mean, the Saints are not even really a defensive team, but their defense right now is just slightly better than the Bears. I mean, come on, like I mean, it's Drew Brees. Drew Brees can light damn near anybody up on a good day. And the Saints are at home, so I'm gonna go ahead and say, let's do 31-17 for the Saints. Flip, who you got? Bears, Saints.
I kind of want to go with the same thing, man, but I've been actually watching the Bears games because for some reason they keep putting them on CBS,
Hmm.
even though I'm in California for some reason. I don't know why, but their defense is actually pretty damn good, man. What's his name? Kyle Fuller. He's been locking down people. Danny Trevathan. He's a defensive anchor for that team for some reason. He's just been playing lights out. I want to say that the Saints have an easy game right here, but I feel like that Bears defense is going to make a few plays on Drew Brees. I got it. I'm going to say like 28-24 Saints. Yeah, maybe 24-21 or 24-20. But it's going to be pretty close.
All right. Wazatov, who you got? Bears, Saints.
Yeah, I think the Bears defense is a little bit underrated. I do unfortunately believe that the Saints, with the anchor removed, known as Adrian Peterson, and like that their situation now at running back,
Yeah.
it's just so much better now with Ingram and the rookie Kamara. It's just that right there might be the best like 1-2 running back combination. They're just the style, the contrast and styles, and how well they've performed in the last couple of games. I think that they're going to be able to take off the load from Drew Brees, who's not going to be kind of forced into having to make too many plays and enforcing interceptions that might come about with Bears. He's putting up a really, really good season. He's not having to do as much. Like he's not throwing like 39 touchdowns. He's not having to throw for 5,000 yards this season. He's slowly putting down like a ho hum 4,000 yards, 29, 30 touchdown seasons this year, I think. And it's just based on the fact that he's got a really, really good running game now, and they're actually trying to use it. And I think that balance is going to push them forward in this game. I'm going to say the Saints are going to win this game 26-17.
All right. Ben, who you got? Bears, Saints.
As well, I can't even really say the Bears have really done anything on offense. I mean, the defense has definitely stepped up. It's kept them in some games, and it's won them some games like last week too. However, like you're on the road in New Orleans, and I'm thinking the Saints may be for real this year. They seem to have it going on. And with that, the Bears they have to come out scoring, and I just don't believe in Trubisky. I just don't really. Maybe a little bit of a run game, but it's a team where you have to put up some like serious points because anytime you play like against the Saints on the road,
they can light you up.
Usually it's a shootout. Yeah, usually you're thinking 30, 40 something points sometimes. And the Bears, I don't trust them to even score more than like 20. So the Saints, I know they can score a shit ton of points. So I think this is going to be probably a solid beatdown too. I'm thinking maybe the Saints. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe 35-17, something like that.
I could definitely see.
Yeah, the Saints. I think the Saints. I think people don't know how real the Saints are yet. I mean, just because it's been a little while since they, got it going, but I think this year they're for real. So I like to see the rest of their schedule. I'd be interested to see because they may run away with this South. Because you don't know what you're getting with the Panthers, Falcons, and the Buccaneers. Saints may run away with it. They actually may get that first round bye too. They're looking maybe at a potential second seed. So.
All right. Next up, we got the Chargers on the road against the New England Patriots. Now, the Chargers surprised the hell out of me last week by shutting out the Denver Broncos, a Denver Broncos team who I thought was going to be formidable going down the stretch. But they've got it back together on defense, especially with their secondary. And Phillip Rivers, Phillip Rivers is Phillip Rivers. He's like one step behind from being elite. He's good enough to keep his team in the game. But it looks like the Patriots got their situation back together, and it looks like Tom Brady is back to being Tom Brady, even at age 40. And even the Patriots, on offense, they got their running game back together. But the only thing about the Patriots is, despite almost shutting out Atlanta last week, their defense is still kind of suspect. But even with the suspect defense, they can still put up a hell of a lot of points against the Chargers. So, the thing is, I want to pick the Chargers. But come on, it's Tom Brady, it's the New England Patriots, and it's at Gillette Stadium. So I'm going to go ahead and say 35-14 for Patriots. Flip, who you got?
I don't want to be biased here, man. But look, our pass rush is really good. I don't know how the New England O line has been looking this year. I think it's been kind of fluky. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Our weakness is still the run. We kind of shut down C.J. Anderson this week, so I'm having a little bit of hope in our run defense. Then again, it's Belichick. That's like the only deciding factor because it's Belichick. I believe that Casey Hayward can hold Brandon Cook. I don't know about Gronk. Gronk might be the deciding factor,
yeah.
But it comes down to if our pass rush can get back on Brady, if Phillips can actually convert on third downs instead of just throwing away the ball every time. I don't know, man. I kind of want to I want to ride the bandwagon and get this to a 4-win streak. So, yeah, I think I got Chargers winning it 27-21.
You got the upset. All right. Wazeltov, who you got? Chargers, Patriots.
You know what? For some reason, I'm getting a funny feeling that this is going to be an upset. I don't know why. I don't have that bias for the Chargers like Flip does, but I have a feeling like I feel like Phillips is going to can have a good game against this team and light them up. I think he's going to throw for like 300 yards, 3 TDs. I don't know what it is about this game. It just feels like the Chargers are starting to get the momentum back, starting to get their swagger back, especially after a shutout. Whereas the Patriots almost pitched a shutout, and they've been playing well. But I just feel like some of those close games that the Chargers lost at the beginning of the season are kind of way pushed behind them. And I think even though this is on the road, like Phil Rivers doesn't strike me as he doesn't come across like that quarterback that's gonna really doesn't give two shits whether or not he's basically playing road games the entire season at that stadium. So this doesn't mean anything to him. There's gonna be like 90% Patriots fans if they're playing in Los Angeles at that little stadium they call home field. So I wouldn't put it past them to win this game against the Patriots. I thought maybe the Patriots might have put all their eggs in one basket against the Falcons, and I think maybe they're going to come up a little flat this week. I like the Chargers. I think this is going to be
okay.
A 26-21 game for the Chargers.
Wow. So
okay.
basically, you guys are saying that the Patriots might get that they might get that Kansas City treatment.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if
Their numbers.
I don't think they're gonna put up points like Kansas City did. Like they're gonna get shellacked like that.
Yeah.
But I just think it's gonna be closer. But I don't know. I got a funny feeling about this game.
All right. All right, Ben, who you got? You got Chargers or Pats?
You guys ever watch like College Game Day?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna do a lead course and say not so fast. I'm gonna go with the Patriots, and I understand that the Chargers have played much better, but I mean I'm looking at their last 3 wins: the Giants, Raiders, and Broncos. Like they played against the Giants, who haven't figured anything out, and the Raiders and Broncos, teams that are still figuring things out. But the Patriots, they figured it out. Like their defense now, that an atrocious defense. They gave up. They had like 6 games where they gave up. 300? Like there's six games where they allowed 300 yards passing. The first 4 games they gave up. 42, 36, 36, and 33 points. But the last 3 weeks, they barely even given up like 2 touchdowns. Like Patricia and Belichick, they're starting to figure it out, which is scary. I love the Patriots. It's actually like another bandwagon team,
Right.
and I'm glad they're finally getting it together. Because I didn't know what I just. But it just goes to show like how everybody is like in those first 4 weeks where people they go, oh well, I don't think the Patriots have it or whatever, but that's been going on for years with this team. Like anytime you think like, oh, this isn't the year, and I think Tom Brady's getting old and all that. Like these guys, like they always find a way to dismiss that. Like they leave you looking stupid, and they're catching on. I'm not saying that they're going to absolutely annihilate the Chargers. I think the Chargers have found out a little bit of something. Melvin Gordon's been playing well. The Chargers defense, well, I don't even know because the Broncos are just terrible on offense. I don't even know how much the Chargers defense stepped up, but it's also just against a bad offense too. So I'm thinking the Chargers are probably going to score a little bit, but I think New England they're going to limit the damage. I'm thinking 28-17.
All right, I can definitely see that. Next up, we got the Raiders going up against them Buffalo Bills. Now, Tyrod Taylor has a cannon for an arm, and it seems like Shady McCoy is back and he's in full effect. And of course, say it with me, folks. 1, 2, 3. That Bills defense, though. But the Raiders, yeah, there we go. But I mean, the Raiders, they shown that they're not dead yet. They shown they still got some life in them, and they will give you a fight to the end. Derek Carr shown that he still got some fire left. And if Marshawn Lynch, they suspended him for this game because of his little scuffle with the referee. He's gonna be out just for this week, but I think he'll be back next week. But I mean, both teams have pretty damn good a good receiving core, and they both have good running backs. But I think Shady McCoy is the better running back out of them. But this one is also gonna be another one that comes down to turnovers and penalties. Penalties will either save you or they will bite you in the ass later on down the stretch. This is gonna be another one where my head says one thing, and my heart says another. Because my head is telling me Bills, but my heart is telling me Raiders. Ugh. It's going to be close. This one's going to be very, very close. I'm going to go ahead and say Bills over the Raiders 28-24. Yeah. I'm going to go that far. 28-24 Bills. Flip, who you got?
I feel like this is going to be a one-sided. I wouldn't say one-sided game, but I think the Raiders. Well, first off, I think Jalen Richard is a better running back than Marshawn Lynch. So I don't think that's a setback to them.
But Shady McCoy's better than both of them.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Bills' defense is way better than the Raiders' defense, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I feel like Derek Carr is going to force feed it to Amari a lot this game. Crabtree is going to be Crabtree, of course. I don't trust Tyrod Taylor, man. People, they give him some hope every year, but I don't know, man. He might do something. He might. But I feel like the Bills are on a hot streak and they're not going to lose this game. So I'll say they win 30 to 27 or something.
All right, Wazatov, who you got?
Yeah, I like Buffalo in this game. I mean, it's not for that weird sequence at the end of the Thursday night game. So we'd be looking at a Raiders team that's 2-5 and just looking like complete trash. We wouldn't even think anything of it. And it would just be an easy pick to go with the Bills. But because of that amazing performance by Mark Cooper and Derek Carr, we think the Raiders might be back. They might have a semblance of being back. But I just think that this is the wrong. It's unfortunately they have to go into Buffalo. Buffalo has looked pretty solid all season, despite some of their deficiencies. That defense, Charles Clay, probably top 5 tight end in the league. It's just a good squad. Again, McCoy's starting to turn the season around, starting to put it together. I like the Bills in this game. I'm gonna go with 20. I'm gonna go 27 to 20 in this game.
All right. So you got a close but slightly high scoring game too. I can see that. All right, Ben, who you got?
Let me think about it. I don't know. It's really a question of which Raiders are we getting. Are we getting the Raiders from last week? They came back. I forgot. I lost my train of thought.
Sorry. I know what I kind of know what you were getting at because the Raiders are a team. The Raiders are a team that it's hard to keep them down. The thing is, the Raiders they are a better team when they're coming back. If they're down the first half, they win half their games, and that's not a coincidence.
Yeah. Well, I'm still thinking maybe the hangover from that big game, because that was a real emotional. That's the best game I've seen in a long time. That was a really, and I used to hate the Raiders back then because I used to be a little bit of a Chiefs fan, but that was really good. But I don't. Can they? I don't. It's one of those rivalry games. You just don't know what you're going to get the next week. Because Chiefs and Raiders and those games, those are games that are those are bloodbaths. So yeah. I don't know how it's going to translate to next week. All that energy, all that emotion, and winning that big game, and now you're playing at Buffalo at 1:00. It could be kind of flat. I'm leaning towards Buffalo, to be honest. I don't know why. It's not like anything that Buffalo has done is really I'm really impressed with. I mean, Shady McCoy was his first time scoring last week. It's like week 7. He's only got 2 touchdowns. But I mean, Buffalo's really good on defense. I think they're ranked. I don't know if they're ranked 4th overall on defense, but it's really and with the Raiders, I just don't trust them. I think they're still trying to figure things out. I don't know if they're on a hot streak like the Saints or the Eagles. I don't really feel that comfortable picking them on the road right now, or just even win consistently at the moment. So I'm going to lean towards the Bills. I think this game's going to be close. I'm leaning towards maybe 24-20, 24-21. This is another game that possibly could be in overtime. But I think the Bills are going to pull it out.
All right. Next up, we got the Indianapolis Colts going up against the Cincinnati Bengals, who are both coming off losses. Jacoby Brissett.
Another doozy.
Yeah, I know. That really is a doozy. Now, Jacoby Brissett, he's got all the talent in the world, but he's still trying to get it together. Frank Gore in the running game is pretty much the only thing that keeps them in it. Now, and Andy Dalton and the Bengals, as far as their offense, they're lackluster. This is another one of those sleeper games that not really many people's going to pay attention to. The Bengals defense, I mean, of course, with all AFC North teams, defense is always hard. And the defense very well, they probably could give Jacoby Brissett a hard time. They could pressure him, they could rush him. Even the Bengals secondary is not really all that bad. It's gonna. I mean, like if the Colts want to pull this one out, because this is at Bengals Stadium, if the Colts want to pull this one out, they're gonna have a hope and a prayer. Smart money says Bengals. I'm gonna. Like I said, I don't really have this being a high scoring game. I'm gonna go ahead and say 21-10 Bengals. Flip, who you got? Colts or Bengals?
I got Andy Dalton playing Madden, AJ Green lighting him up.
Wow.
I got Bengals. I got Bengals winning like 27-16 or something like that.
All right, short, sweet, and to the point. Wazatov, who you got?
Yeah, I agree with Flip. I think this will be a game where like a lot of people are going to be cursing themselves for not looking at the obvious play here. When the Bengals, even though they're usually inept offensively, their defense they're only giving up around like 16 points a game, and the Colts, their defense is just very trash. They're giving up 31 a game, and I think this is a game where you check your box score, you check your fantasy team, and you see AJ Green's got like 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, and it's like a monster game where he just gets a lot of his stats in his games. Like I think you look at their schedule, the Bengals had one game against the Browns this season where it was 31-7, and Dalton threw 4 touchdowns. I think this is going to be kind of similar game. They only get a couple of these crappy teams a year, so they're going to make it count. But I'm going to go with, you know what? It's going to be 31-7. The exact same score was against the Browns. 31-7 Bengals. And AJ Green probably puts up at least 150 on the Colts. Easily.
All right. Ben, who you got?
I'm gonna one up. I'm gonna say it's 31-3.
Wow.
Jesus. Yeah. This isn't for the Colts. They need to reboot the whole season. Like like Andrew Luck. If I was Andrew Luck, I just wouldn't even come back this year. Like, why bother?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a team that just doesn't have it. I mean, he got T.Y. Hilton, but I mean that's it. Like, it's just nothing. They can't protect. You can't run. They can't really pass. Their defense is just like. No, this week, it's gonna look really bad. I think, AJ Green. This is definitely like a fantasy where you're like start all your, all your guys. Start all your Bengals. If you have any. Yeah, no doubt.
All right. Next up, this is a very, very interesting game we got here between the Houston Texans and the Seattle Seahawks. Another potential game of the week. Deshaun Watson, he's also a very, very talented guy. I mean, he's got the potential to probably even be better than Russell Wilson does. But Russell Wilson, I believe he's got his weapons are just a little bit better. I believe that, DeAndre Hopkins is probably... at this point, I think that DeAndre Hopkins is probably better than one single receiver. Well, every one single receiver on the Seahawks. But the thing is, all the Seahawks, of course, combined are better than him. The running game. the Seahawks have finally gotten together on the running game. They got a 1-2 punch with Procise and with Eddie Lacy. This is gonna be another one that comes down to the defense. The thing is, I don't think that he's faced a defense like the Legion of Boom. You know, pretty much the best secondary in the league. Call me crazy. Am I crazy if I pick the Texans with the upset? You guys tell me right now. Am I crazy if I pick them?
You said the Texans with the upset.
Would I be crazy if I were? Would y'all think I'd be nuts if I picked them for the upset?
I wouldn't call an upset.
Like I said, because this is another upset game that I want to pick. I want to pick the Texans, but because that 12th man though, I'm gonna play it safe and pick the Seahawks. But I got this being a very close game. Let's say 24-21, Seahawks. Flip, that was hard. Man, that was hard. But yeah, Flip, what you got?
Look, man. DeAndre Hopkins is a top 5 receiver, we could say.
Definitely.
Arguably.
Definitely.
Will Fuller has been really impressive. We can't sleep on Will Fuller anymore. Lamar Miller and Deontay Foreman, they're all right, but they're not the real anchor of that team. We see Deshaun Watson. We see what he can do. I feel like he's you could argue that he's better than Russell Wilson this year.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson, their offense is so sketchy, man. I don't trust their offense. David Clowney, he still leads that Texas defense even with Watt and Mertz out. So I feel like the defenses aren't too spread apart, but I feel like Deshaun Watson is he's more of a risky quarterback, and he'll air it out and he'll take risks where Russell Wilson will kind of he'll run out the pocket and kind of I don't know. I don't feel like he can outgun Deshaun Watson this week. So I got Texans winning at 31-17.
Wow, you with the upset.
Yeah. He said what? 31-7?
17.
17.
17. Okay. All right.
All right. Wazatov, who you got? Texans or Seahawks?
Yeah. So I think this is really dependent on if Seattle can contain Watson in the pocket. If they just force him to beat him with his arm, I think they should win this game just based on that defense alone. That offense hasn't looked great, and I think this is probably the game of the week. I'm really interested to see what's going to happen in this game. Both squads have good defenses, and both have mobile quarterbacks that make it interesting and more difficult for the defense to react. I think it's going to be dependent on what Seattle's linebacker cores, Bobby Wagner and Wilhoy, if they can keep Watson in the pocket, because I think any shot the Texans have is going to be Watson scrambling for first down, rolling out, staying out of the pocket long enough for Fuller or for Hopkins to make a play. I'm curious. The more I think about it, I go back and forth. I think the reason why I want to say the Texans is I'm personally rooting for them because I'm rooting for Watson's success.
Yeah.
However, I just think that Seattle is just right now. Overall, head to toe, they're better. They're just a better organization, better team, and I think that they will win this game. It will be close, though. I think this is going to be like a 27-24 game for the Seahawks.
All right, Ben, who you got? Seahawks, Texans.
This is the Deshaun Watson factor that makes this game a little bit kind of scary. I could also see Houston maybe upset in Seattle, and I would call it an upset. I don't know if Houston's the same caliber of team as Seattle. Seattle almost pissed me off last week. I said they were going to absolutely destroy the Giants, and at one it took them a while to finally get things going, and that's the trouble with the Seahawks. I don't think they've ever really been known for their offense, but still, it's like sometimes it just takes them a long, long time to really get it going. They're a really good team, but it's just the offense that I don't know. Whereas Houston's offense is pretty good this year. They know how to put up points. I'm gonna go with Seattle, and it's sort of like the home factor. I think like this is gonna maybe be a learning curve for Deshaun Watson to go up against maybe a defense like this. You're supposed to get that. You're supposed to learn something against the Patriots. Unfortunately, at that time, the Patriots just they didn't really know what the hell was going on. So yeah, he lit them up. But I think I don't get that same type of feeling against Seattle like on the road. I think Seattle's gonna kind of squelch, you know, the whole. I wouldn't necessarily say running gun, but the whole dual threat. I think they limit him a little bit. I think Hopkins is gonna get locked down. You guys think Sherman's gonna be on Hopkins?
Yeah, and Doug Baldwin and Cam Chancellor. Yeah, well, I can see Cam Chancellor probably blitzing the quarterback.
Yeah, and I don't know about the Texans' running game. I mean, really, he seemed to just really be doing it in the air. I mean, Lamar Miller, I don't think his stats are bad or anything, but it's not like he's, turning it up. And the Texans, they lost to the Chiefs, they lost to the Patriots. I don't necessarily think the Seahawks are on that tier. Maybe just a slight, like, sub-tier underneath those teams. But, I think they're going to beat the I think they're too good for the Texans. I don't think it's a blowout. The score is scary because I got Seahawks maybe putting up 27-something points. I was thinking 27-17. I don't know how they're going to get 27 points with that offense. Or just in general, it could be 23-17. But, I'm going to go with that.
All right. Next up, we got the Dallas Cowboys going up against the Washington Redskins. The Washington Redskins, who put up a hell of a fight against both the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs in previous weeks.
Now, do we know if Zeke is playing? Is this official or is he not playing?
I think he will be playing this week, but it's it's subjective. But
asking that,
they have him as listed as playing this week, but of course they said it's subjective. The Cowboys, they might be rolling. I mean, they might be getting it together, but of course they can beat teams that are under 500. We all know that. But the Redskins they're solid. The thing is, the only problem that the Redskins really have is that they can't close out games. They're solid on offense. They're solid on defense. Hell, even their special teams ain't all that bad. The only problem is that when they get a lead, they can't close the door. And that all lies on Kirk Cousins. And dare I say it, Dak Prescott is a better quarterback than Kirk Cousins at this point. In the running game, I think with or without Zeke, that the Cowboys have a better running game because their backup, I think, is it Darren McFadden is the Cowboys' backup, right?
Alfred Morris, yeah, too.
Right, Alfred Morris and Darren McFadden is both their backups. This is not really going to be. I can actually see this probably being a pretty damn high scoring game. I don't really see either defense doing that much. It might be a 35-28 kind of game. I might get a foot in my ass for the pick for this. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and lower the score. I'm gonna go ahead and say 24-28. I'm gonna go ahead and give it to the Redskins, 24-28. And it's Josh Norman's back, isn't he? Or is Josh Norman? Is he injured or is he back?
I think he's back, but he probably still has a lingering injury.
Yeah, because he's gonna have to lock down Dez Bryant. I mean, the thing is that matchup is pretty even. I mean, he can sneak off on. I mean, Dez Bryant can beat him deep, but the thing is, if he jam him up at the 5-10 yards past the line, then Josh Norman can beat Dez. But like I said, Dez. I mean, I've said this in previous weeks. Dez's chemistry, Dez and Dak's chemistry is nowhere near Tony's and Dez's chemistry. The same thing with Zeke Elliott and Zeke and Dak have better chemistry. Like I said, but I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Redskins. 28-24. Flip, who you got?
I don't know, man. The Redskins have been pretty underwhelming. I don't like Terrell Pryor. They're starting to give more reps to the rookie Dotson. I mean, the only good receiver they have on that team, well, the only good receivers are Jordan Reed, Vernon Davis, apparently. Chris Thompson, Chris Thompson's been pretty decent in the backfield. So their run game isn't too bad, but I mean, compared to Zeke and Dez, Cole Beasley, I guess Jason Witten every blue.
Yeah.
Hey man, Jason Witten had like an Odell catch in the end zone.
Oh yeah, that one-handed circus catch.
That one-handed catch.
If it's one thing about Jason Witten is like Mr. Reliable. He might not be that fancy, he might not be that flashy, but the thing is, he will catch the ball and he will get you where you need to go.
Seriously, man. Yeah, I feel like Dallas just has more reliable weapons.
Yeah.
I don't see Dez doing too crazy this week, but he'll do enough, I think. I don't think he'll go quiet the entire game.
Yeah.
He might get like one touchdown out of nowhere, but I got Dallas winning this probably 31-23.
Wow. All right, Wazatov, who you got?
Yeah, I think this is going to be Dallas. I just trust them more. I trust Dak more. I just think Cousins is gonna have some turnovers. I think they got some injuries to their offensive line as well, so I'm not sure how well that they're gonna hold up.
Oh yeah, Scherf is hurt. Scherf is, I think, out for the year.
Scherf and another
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not. They're already had some suspects in terms of their ability to protect Cousins and run the ball. I think that's all hindered. I like the weapons more on Dallas. Dallas, I think they, especially on like the Redskins had a tough game on Monday night. So it's a short week for the Redskins, whereas Dallas had like an easy game on Sunday, where they had their starters resting in the fourth, like the Warriors, and they're just it's just gonna be it's gonna show on Sunday. Dallas is gonna take it. I'm gonna say Dallas probably 28-13.
All right. Ben, who you got? Cowboys, Redskins.
Yeah, I was gonna go with that too. With the Redskins, was that like an emotional week, against playing against rival the Eagles on a Monday night, and then turn around and play this. The Cowboys, like they had a bye week last week. I mean, they played, but that was a bye week.
Yeah, pretty much. They had 2 bye weeks.
That was a scrimmage.
Yeah, that was a preseason game.
Yeah, something like that. I couldn't even believe the score. I was like at work at one time. I looked up and I was like 40-3. I was like, damn. Like by then, I guess I don't even know if that was like in the third quarter or whatever. But like, these guys are going to be, a physical game like that. The Redskins played against a team that's going to be fresh. Essentially, I think Dallas is going to win, but it's going to be it's the NFC East game. It's going to be close. I got Dallas winning. I think it's going to be like 27-20. You guys are like they're gonna run all over the Redskins. Like I think Dallas is second in rushing right now. Like everybody knows Dallas can run the ball. They have, if not the best offensive line. I think they're going to dominate the line of scrimmage. I'm looking for another big game for Zeke. I don't know if it's going to be a game like he had against the 49ers.
Yeah,
but
definitely not.
As he's saying about it, he's going to get his point.
Yeah.
I'd look for him to get maybe a score or two. We'll go 27 Cowboys.
Wow, so I'm the only one picking the Skins here. All right, then. Next up, primetime game. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road against the Detroit Lions. Now, guys, this game scares me just a little bit because the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Detroit Lions, they're not really, these teams don't really face each other a lot. They're not really familiar with each other. And the thing that scares me the most is not only the fact that the Steelers on the road, but the Lions are better than both of the teams that the Pittsburgh Steelers have lost to, and that's something that you really got to keep in mind. And besides Antonio Brown, Golden Tate is the best damn receiver. He's going to be one of the best damn receivers on that damn field. Like I said, besides Antonio Brown. But it seems like defensively, the Steelers are a damn juggernaut. And I mean, it seems like they're going to be. I mean, the thing is with Matt Stafford is if you sack him once, he starts to get happy feet. He starts to really get frustrated. I mean, of course, you can say this about every quarterback, but Matt Stafford don't like getting hit. He really does get pissed off at his O-line if they don't protect him. And that's something that you got to watch out for. By far, the Steelers do have a better running game. The defense for the Steelers is better. And, I mean, this very well could be a damn shootout. But, of course, like I said, the Steelers, they make the mistake of, playing down to the competition. But the thing is, Detroit is not a crappy team. Detroit is actually pretty damn solid. Whew. So with that in mind, I have this being a hairpin close game. Hopefully, Steelers, don't make me regret this. Do not make me regret this pick. I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers over the Detroit Lions, 28-27. Yeah.
Okay.
28-27. All right, Flip, who you got?
27.
Yeah, Flip, who you got? Lions, Steelers.
Okay, question before we start this.
Okay.
Who do you think has a better high-powered offense, the Steelers or the Saints?
That's hard. That's hard. I mean, the Steelers as far as the running game, but the receiving game is pretty even. And I think that Ben Roethlisberger at this point is better than Matt Stafford is.
High-powered. I'm between the Steelers and the Saints. I'd probably go with the Saints.
Come on. But the thing is, look at the receiving core. They got Antonio Brown. They got Juju Smith. They got Martavius Bryant when he's not acting up. They even got, you can even say Le'Veon Bell is a slot receiver. And look at their special teams. Their special teams, they got Darius Hayward. They even break him out every once in a while. So this.
Yeah, but roster-wise, yeah, it should be the Steelers. The Steelers should be, that high-octane offense, or just team in general, but they haven't shown it this year.
Breeze has been, Big Ben hasn't really been playing well. Breeze has been playing solid comparatively, so you could say, like, right now, like, the Saints have the better offense this season. But yeah, on paper, it's the Steelers.
Yeah. But yeah, continue. Flip, continue. All right, yeah, sorry about that, guys. But right before we got cut off. Sorry about that for everybody who's in the chat. But yeah, Flip, what was your overall decision between the Lions and yeah?
I was gonna say I was gonna edge it out to the Lions because they're home. I was gonna say 28-24. I don't really trust Ben too much on the road this week, but I feel like they need Le'Veon to kind of dominate this game with like 25 to 30 carries.
Wow. All right. Wazatov, who you got? Steelers, Lions.
Yeah, the Lions are giving up a lot of points, and the Steelers look like they found the formula, which is basically just gave Le'Veon Bell the ball. I guess apparently he's already had like 3 games this month with carries over 30 carries in a game.
Yeah.
So they're definitely putting, like, I don't know if they're gonna pace themselves at all. Like, I don't know if you want to run him to the ground right before we even get to December. So they might scale back a little bit, but the way Ben Roethlisberger's been playing so far, he hasn't really been playing well. I don't know if they're ready yet to let him try to have a big game on his own.
Yeah.
But I guess this would be the team. Early on, I remember the Lions defense actually playing well, but now as of late, like they're falling off. So maybe Ben has a good game this week. I think their defense has been playing well enough. I think they're going to get turnovers out of Stafford. I'm going to go with the Steelers in this. I'm going to go with a score of a 26-18.
All right. Ben, who you got?
As much as I hate Pittsburgh very much, I'm more confident with it, man. More than you. I mean, you only gave them a 1-point victory.
Yep.
No, Steelers is. I think they got it going on. The guy was talking about the formula giving it to Le'Veon Bell. Like, I see him having a pretty decent game. There's no answer for him. There's no answer for Antonio Brown. They may even give it to Martavis Bryant.
Yeah.
Just to shut him up.
Pretty much.
He may. Yeah. This is the time. This is like a hint to not pick the Lions. It's gonna be in Detroit. It's a primetime game.
Yep.
So the eyes are gonna be watching Detroit, and they're just gonna be flat. This is a time where Detroit won't show up at all. Usually, like you get this, against the Lions where it's like 35-31 or something, where Matt Stafford lights it up. But I don't see that happening. I think Pittsburgh's gonna lock him down. Detroit, they just don't really have a whole lot going on. Whereas Pittsburgh, they're getting the momentum, and I already talked to you guys about that stretch.
Oh yeah.
I just don't see Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's going to go on a streak, man. I really think so. I see them going. I mean, 5-2, right? They should be like 10-2 by the time they play the Patriots. So this is going to be easy pickings. I'm looking at 28-17. And I think that's generous because I don't even know if the Lions are even going to get that many points, but it's going to be a solid win for Pittsburgh. They don't have anything to worry about this week.
I see what you mean because, like I said, if there's one thing about Steelers linebackers, because look at look at what they did to Andy Dalton last week. The Steelers linebackers ate him alive last week. 2 sacks by Bud Dupree, a sack by T.J. Watt, and I think Ryan Shazier got 2 sacks too. And then they get and Artie Burns almost picked him off. And Artie Burns, he's getting better and better every single week. Like I said, Matt Stafford, when he gets pressured, that's when he starts to panic and starts to sling the ball faster than receivers can react to it. But in order for the Lions to win, Golden Tate's going to have a hell of a game. And I can see the Steelers linebackers like making the passing game a non-factor. That's why I gave them the slight edge in this game. We'll see, as always. Then last but not least, we got the Denver Broncos on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs are currently on a 2-game losing streak, and the Broncos got shut out last week. So, and the thing is, these teams usually have pretty good back and forth games with each other, despite both them losing last week. Their second, both teams have pretty damn good secondaries, and Aqib Lee is probably like one of the best D-backs in the NFL. He's probably top 5, maybe even top 3 D-backs in the NFL right now. The second probably would go to Eric Berry if he was still active, if he wasn't injured. I gotta say, at this point though, Alex Smith is a better quarterback. But I mean, the running game is even better for the Kansas City Chiefs. But the thing is, in order to stop not Tyreek Hill, but in order to stop the running back, the Broncos are going to have to jam the line of scrimmage up. They're really going to have to jam him at the line and not even give him a chance to get the running game off. And as far as the receivers are not healthy for the Broncos at all. I mean, I think Emmanuel Sanders is inconsistent. Demaryius Thomas he's not really even playing all that good. He's his health is up in the air. So all the cards and all the arrows are pointing for this to be a Kansas City game. I could even see Kansas City winning this game 35-14. Even though, I see them putting up a fight. I see the Broncos putting up a fight. But I think, as the game goes on, well, shoot, you might even say that Kansas City could run away with this game early. You know what? I'm gonna grow some balls. I'm gonna be ballsy. I'm gonna go ahead and stick to it. I'm gonna say 35-14 for the Chiefs. Flip, who you got?
I feel like 35-14 is realistic.
Yeah,
Emmanuel Sanders might not play this week.
yeah.
Marcus Peters is probably going to lock down Demarius Thomas. It just doesn't look that great for the Broncos. Trevor Simeon doesn't have any pocket awareness. I don't know if you guys saw that hit he took that was called rusting the passer last week. Yeah, that was ridiculous. Like he should have saw someone coming straight at him. He looked like a deer in the headlights. I don't trust the Broncos offense. Their defense is top kick, obviously. I don't think they can hold it out enough for. Oh, but maybe they can because they play them so much every year. You know, I'm gonna say just because I want this to happen because it helps the Chargers out in the division.
Yeah.
I got Broncos winning 21-17 or 21-20.
It's at Arrowhead though,
holds
but then
out.
again, I can see what you mean.
Defense holds out enough and they get the win. How about that?
Okay, we can all hope on a prayer. All right, but Wazzle Time, who you got? Broncos or Broncos or KC?
KC, yeah, I'm gonna go with KC. If Simeon was playing a little bit better and they had if guys were healthy, if he had Sanders fully healthy, Marius, CJ Anderson was just playing a little bit better, this would be a pretty close game. I wouldn't know exactly who to pick. Because I think both. I think the Broncos defense is world class, and it can definitely do enough to put them in a position to make up for the deficiencies, but not at this level. I think Kansas City has enough weapons on offense to do some things, whether it's just doing screen passes to Hunt, doing some reversals to Tyreek Hill. Alex Smith's been playing really well, even though they lost last couple of games. Alex Smith still doesn't have a turnover yet. That might change against this secondary in terms of interception thrown, but I think they're still going to do enough to hang on and win. I like the Chiefs 23-14 in this game.
All right. Ben, who you got? Chiefs Broncos.
I'm not selling my stock on the Chiefs yet. They, it was starting off the streak. I mean, they played against. Granted at home, they played against the Steelers, who are a really good team, and then they played the Raiders, the underachieving Raiders team, but it should be in the same caliber as the Steelers and the Patriots. With what they did last year. So I mean, they went up against two really good opponents. Whereas Denver, they didn't show up was a Sunday night against the Giants. And again, I'm still looking. Does anybody even know where the Broncos are? Because they haven't shown up the last 2 weeks at all.
Yeah.
At all.
Since they dismantled the Cowboys.
Yeah, that's a surprise.
Yeah.
That was the last time anybody seen the Denver Broncos at all. Yeah. I look for Kansas City to win. I think they're going to win comfortably. I know it's one of those rivalries where you don't really know with this game, Denver and Kansas City, because usually Denver does pretty well on the road against Kansas City. It usually gets Kansas City fit, and it's usually whoever's on the road is the team that wins. Usually Denver versus Kansas City at Kansas City is Denver. If it's Kansas City at Denver, and usually Kansas City pulls it out. But this time I think Kansas City they get it right. I think Kansas City still got it. They just they went up against the Steelers and a team that should be in the top 5 NFL teams. The Oakland Raiders with the team they have. It's just that the Raiders are just kind of underachieved. in Denver, they've lost against. I still don't know what to make of the Chargers. I know the Chargers have improved, and a really bad New York Giants. So I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. I'm tired of throwing this score out. I don't know what it is. I can't think of that. I've seen this score like 3-4 times tonight.
Yeah.
I think I'm. Nah, I'm not gonna do that. Let's do 27-16. How about that?
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, just to change it up a little bit. Yeah, Chiefs. Sorry, Chiefs.
Yeah. All right, and those are our predictions for Week 8. Yeah, gentlemen. Wow. After this week, we're going to be halfway through the NFL season. So yeah, just let that sink in for a little bit. But yeah, any final thoughts before we sign out?
Hopefully there's more upsets this week. There's been a lot of upsets these last few weeks, and I've been doing it.
Yeah, because I picked 2 upsets this week. Yeah, this week I picked 2 upsets. I mean, normally I pick only 1, but yeah, I'm feeling comfortable about the upsets that I picked this week. But yeah, Wazatov, any final thoughts before you sign out, man?
Yeah, just hoping for like a week where no one's quarterback lost for the season. Essentially, so you had like
Carson Palmer's out.
People,
yeah,
the Cardinals are essentially done. It's just it's kind of crappy. It kind of ruins the quality of play a little bit when these quarterbacks go out and miss the season. You know what I mean? That sucks. But hopefully a healthy week. No one goes down.
All right. Ben, final thoughts.
I'm looking forward to how this week ends. It's like the second quarter of the season. This is where you start to separate, the pretenders and the contenders. Teams that, maybe like that the third quarter stretch or whatnot, you see teams start to separate themselves. The teams that, are the ones that are going to put a run together and be dominant, and you see, okay, well, this team's definitely going to, get the home field advantage, and you get teams that just kind of go through the motions and just kind of take themselves out of the playoff hunt. So I'm really looking forward to like this week more so than all the other weeks so far. Because I really want to know who's really going to stand out.
Definitely. Well, anyway, that'll do it for this week, you guys. Always, thank you guys for tuning in, and we will be back next week. Thank you, Wazatov, Flip, and Ben for participating. I will see you guys next week.